What is up, my favorite college degens? In this video, we're going to be getting into the Blofin platform, which is going to allow us to leverage trade. So the reason you clicked on this video is probably because you want to make a ton of money. And that's exactly what we're going to get into in this video, how to leverage a small amount of money, like let's say $100 or $1,000, and be able to make many multiples of our money. So it's not super complicated, and I'll break down how to use this platform, how to get your money in, how to trade on leverage, and be safe about it. But stay tuned for the end of the video where I'll show you guys exactly how I made $6,000 plus using super simple apps that pay you to invite people to their platforms. And then you can, of course, in turn, put that money into crypto, pay your bills, pay for college, do whatever the heck you want with it. But yeah, let's get into the platform. As you can see on screen, we have a website called Blofin, and what it is it'll allow us to leverage trade. Essentially what that means is that if I have $100, I can, let's say, use 2x leverage, meaning that if I put in $100, it's actually $200. All right, same thing with you can go all the way up to like 150x. Okay, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but we'll actually see some examples here of I took a trade with 100x leverage just in a demo trading, just to show you guys, how much you can make and how that all works. But let's explore the platform just a little bit here. So here's the home page. Once you make an account, this is one of the only platforms in the US that you can actually do leverage trading. Things like Kraken Pro or Coinbase Pro don't allow you to do leverage trading. And so as a college kid, wherever you're working job, you're probably not going to have a ton of money. I would highly suggest you start with just like $100 to work with, and then just kind of mess around. You can even mess around with paper trading. But we'll actually, once you get set up with your account, it's going to look like this homepage. First thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to buy crypto. So I've already done this, so I know that this works because a lot of platforms don't allow you to do this in the US. But you're going to come here. Let's say we put in $100, and there are fees associated with this. So like it'll say receive $97. You'll do this, understand, buy now, and then it'll take you through that process of buying the crypto. So once you do this, you'll see you'll only get $91. So if I wanted to actually get $100 into my account, I'd need to go back, change this to like basically $110, and then go back in. And then after the fees, you'll see I should have like $101, $102. So just understand that when you are depositing that there are going to be some fees, so just expect that to happen. And that's pretty much universal. Any kind of platform where you're going to be depositing money, they're always taking a little bit of money off the top. So that's totally fine. So once you have that, you're actually going to want to, I'll move my camera over. You're going to go over to your assets. So like I've done exactly that. So we can go to overview, and then you're going to find your assets here. So it's going to say total equity, $101. Cool. So when you do that, you're going to go over to funding. Your money is going to be found in your funding account. It's not going to go to spot or futures. I'll explain a little bit the differences between those. But spot trading, it won't be in there, or futures. It'll say $101 on the screen, and then you're going to come over and it would say USDT. You'd click on transfer. So of course it would say USDT from funding to, you can go to your spot account or your USDTM. That's the leverage trading, so that's what we're actually going to be using. So you click on that, and then you can click all, and then that would say however much you deposited. So we can actually see in my futures. All right, so yeah, I already have it moved over. Cool. So let's go over to, we're going to start with spot trading just so you understand what this is. So here we have a chart of bar graphs on Bitcoin. So you can go over here, you can go to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, just a whole bunch of different tokens that they have on the platform. For this example, we'll use Bitcoin. So you have your chart here. You have a 5-minute time frame, 15, 1 hour, 4 hours. I'm not going to explain exactly how candles work or the time frames. There's plenty of other videos explaining how this all works, so feel free to go watch those, educate yourself, come back if you need to, but that is how this works. Anyways, so on a spot, it works like a normal account, just like you're going on Coinbase or Kraken. There's no leverage involved. It's just you put in your price. So right here, I'd be buying at $107,325, and then I can go to amount, or you could do in total dollar amount. So if I put in 100, that's the amount of Bitcoin I would be buying. All right. So if I wanted to buy $100, you'd buy BTC, and then that would actually what this does, and I'll explain a little bit in market orders. So if I zoom in on the chart here, I can see Bitcoin's at $107,315. Cool. So if I set up what most people are normal or used to is market orders. What that means is that as soon as you put in, let's say you would want to, let's see, total. So if I wanted to buy $100 of Bitcoin, most people are used to getting market orders. That's how Coinbase and Kraken, that's how they work as market orders. What that means is that your order is going to be instantly filled as soon as I press buy. I buy Bitcoin. The reason that works is because you have market orders. You can see on the screen these little things right here is called the market book. It's the order book. People are buying and selling. They have the prices listed at where they want to sell and where they want to buy. If I want to buy, I'm doing a market buy at a price that is higher than the current actual price of Bitcoin, and therefore I'm going to have an initial loss. So instead of buying at $107,315, it would buy, like, let's say several dollars higher than what it's actually at, just to make sure that I'm going to get my order in right away. So you're always going to be down just a little bit if you do a market order. And there's also fees associated with that market order because you're being filled instantly. So that is how market orders work, and we're going to show exactly the difference between limit orders and market orders, and why you probably want to do limit orders when we're trying to actually do these leverage trades so we can make the most amount of money. So if I will actually do this example on the futures. So you come over to futures and you're going to use USDT M futures. And then we're going to come over, let's actually go to the 5-minute. All right. So one thing is on the futures, you're going to notice that some of the bars are kind of small, even though on the spot it's not the same. It's just because the amount of volume on the futures is slightly less. It's still going to be the same thing. It's just not going to update as fast on the actual chart. Anyways, so the limit order, what I can do here is I can actually, if I were to put, let's say, $100, and I change the price to, let's say, 108,000. All right. So, or actually, no, we don't want to do that. We'd go to, let's just say 106,000. And we're going to buy $100 worth of it. And of course, my order's not going to get filled because the price is higher than that. But I'll just show you what that would look like. All right, so I go to, let's see, actually, so right here you can change the leverage. So you're going to come here and I can click here. You can go 5x, 10x, 20x, 30x. For purposes, sure, yeah, we'll just leave it on 3x, whatever. All right, I'll explain the isolated and margin or cross margin in just a little bit. But if I go to buy long, it's going to say yes, confirm. Oh, that's 10,000. What am I doing? So that is, okay, $106,000. Cool. And I'm going to confirm. All right, so you can see on the screen that we have a buy order for $106,000. So how this works is that if the price comes down to this line, then I'm going to get my order filled, and then I would be in a position, a long position. You can also do shorts as well. but look up other videos explaining that. It's a little bit more than what we're going to get into here. But once I get filled, then I can do whatever I want. It just makes it a little bit more tactical. If, for instance, and let me just cancel this order. So you can also just click the X here, and then it'll cancel the order. No fees, nothing, because no orders were filled. You can just have that, and you're good to go. But if I was looking to get into a trade, then let's say I wanted to buy around $107 or $107,000, I could input that in there, and then the green line would be right here on the screen. So then if the price comes down, it would fill me, and then of course I'd be expecting it to rise in price and then make money that way. So there's a couple other things on here. We can do take profit and stop loss. So I'll actually do, let's see, another example. 106,000 amount, say 100, and take profit would be 107,500. Stop loss would be like, let's say $10, or let's just say 100,000. Okay, so buy long. Okay, no, don't want that. Okay, yeah. Let's see. So I'm not in the trade yet, so it's not going to show it. So that's actually not a great example. So let me just cancel that. But essentially what's going to see here is, let's say I got filled in right now and I had that take profit. Let's say I put it right here at 107,508 because I know that that could be a potential sell place, or for 107,000 I could put a take profit. What that would do is that as soon as the price rises to that take profit level, and you'd see a green bar just like you saw before right up here, but once it crosses that line, it would sell me out of my trade at a market order. So again, you're going to be getting a little bit less than what it would say on the screen is your profit and loss. But it's going to fill you right away, and you can be hands off if you want to step away from your computer. You don't have to worry about like, oh, let me grab lunch for a second. You come back and realize that where you wanted to sell it already went there and then came back down. So you don't have to worry about that. It just doesn't automate trading, but it makes it easier. Same thing with the stop loss. Is if I wanted to make sure that I'm reducing my risk and I don't just, especially on leverage trading, the way that it works, if I use a 10x leverage on $100, I'm trading with $1,000. Okay, so if the price goes up by 10% from when I get in, I'm up 100%. If it goes down 10%, then I'm down 100% and I'd get liquidated or sold out of my position. So that's the caveat of leverage trading and what you have to watch out for. So here is the stop loss, is to mitigate that risk. If I were to get in right at, let's say this point right here, 107,261, maybe that I wouldn't actually get in at that point, but just say for purpose, I wanted to have a stop loss all the way down here because it could potentially bounce at this little green wick here. So let's say I put a stop loss at 107,019. So if the price comes down to that point, I get sold out so that it doesn't just continue falling and falling and falling, and then I'm down a ton of money, especially when you're on leverage. So I can actually, we're going to go over to paper trading, and this is actually how you guys are going to get some practice here. So if we go over to futures, go to demo trading, and I'll explain how you actually get the money into the paper trading account in a sec. But I took a trade right over here. So I got in at the bottom of the screen candle, and then I exited it up here. All right. So we're going to go to order history, and we're going to break down exactly what happened. So first trade right here was on a 100x. I was using my amount that I had in was, let's see, not Bitcoin. That was, let's see, 10x. No. Okay, I was on 100x. And so I input it in here. So the amount here is how much of the value of what you're buying is. So I was using $1,000, but because it's on 100x, it's actually $100,000. So I need to input $100,000 if I actually want to spend $1,000. So that's what I did. So it says right here, cost is actually only going to be $999. So $1,000 is what it actually is. But of course, this is that the actual value of the trade is $100,000. So what I did here, so I bought it right here, filled was $100,000, and you're gonna see here, so there was a $20 fee. How this works is that there's fees for buying and for selling. The way that these fees work is that if the price action is coming down, so like it's a red candle coming down, people are trying to sell. So when I have a buy order that's underneath the sell, so here's the red candle with the price where it's at right now, and it's coming down and then hits my buy, my fee is going to be way less because people are trying to sell. And so it's cheaper to buy than it is to sell when you're going against the market. Same thing the other direction. If the price action is coming up and your sell order is up here and then it hits, because the market is green and you're doing the opposite, it's a lot cheaper in the fees. And so here you'll see that I had a $20 fee. The reason that the fee is so high is because I'm getting charged the fees as if I was trading with $100,000. Okay, so I'm incurring the same amount of fees as if I was actually trading $100,000 because I am. All right, and so same thing when you go to sell, you're gonna have the same thing. So I got in, and it says here that my P&L was $74 on that trade. So that's how much profit I made from buying here and then selling here. The only problem is that you can see that my fee here was $60. Why is that? It's because I sold when it was selling, and so my fee is way higher. Had I had my sell limit here and then it came up to sell, it would have been around the same price of $20. Total would have been a $40 fee, so I would have profited around $34. And so I can actually come here, I believe it's position history, so I can see that my realized P&L was actually negative $5 on that trade. So that's just something to be really careful about, especially on really high leverage. You're going to be tempted to, like, let's say, 100 exit, right? But if you're not doing this correct, then you could lose a lot more money, because had this not gone the way I thought it was going to, then I could have lost, let's see, if I did this wrong, I could have had a fee of $40, had my $60 fee, had a total of $100 fee, plus if I would have lost money, so I could have lost close to $200 on that trade had I not already been doing this for a while, so I know what I'm doing. But again, the upside is so much more. If, let's just as an example, take this tool right here and put this here and up here, right? So what this is showing is if I were to buy in down here, then if I were to sell out here, then it's a 0.27% gain. But again, I'm on 100x, so it's actually a 27% gain on my $1,000, so which would be $270 if I'm trading with 1,000. Same thing with here in the red. If I sell out at that position, it would actually just be a 4% loss on my $1,000. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it, and I would highly suggest we're gonna just doing the paper trading to start out until you've developed your own system of what works and what doesn't. Again, there's tons of other videos out there explaining fundamentals, charting, technical analysis, and developing your own trading strategy that's profitable. I'm not going to go into that because I'm not a super expert. There's plenty of other channels that can do that and explain that way better than I can. But I'm just providing, here's a platform, this is how you use it. Anyway, so come over here and we're going to go into spot, actually not, sorry, not spot, come over to futures, move that back, actually over here, and so it says we're at total volume is blah blah blah. I can reset that, and then it's just going to put you back at $50,000. That's just the base that it puts you at. I've actually never done this with, alright, so it just does that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it just gives you $50,000 to trade with. Again, pretend as if you're going, if you're going to put in $1,000, then pretend like you have $1,000 instead of the $50,000, okay? Of course, this isn't real money, so the biggest thing is your emotions are, it's going to feel like a game, right? I can put in 50 grand. If I lose it, cool, let me press the reset button. Take this seriously. If you're actually going to try to make money doing this, you don't want to lose your actual money, so treat it as if you're actually using your money that you worked hard for. All right? Okay, so that's pretty much it for that. We'll go back to the live trading. And again, there's other tools in here that you should look at, like the triggers and other things that are useful. There's other videos explaining this stuff. It just take way too long to go over this, and we're already a little bit long on the video. But some other things that you can do in here is the rewards hub, and there's ways of making some money. So first futures account deposit 200 more, you can earn $30, and then there's just some other deposit rewards that you can do here. So let's see, I need to trade over $1,000 and I'll get $15. So there's a bunch of stuff here that you can just get some other things, daily tasks, whatever it is. All right, and that is pretty much it. They run events as well on the home screen, so you can always check those out and see if there's some money that you can make there. But again, just be careful with how you're investing. Don't be dumb. Don't lose your money. I've done a lot of stuff. I've doubled my money overnight. I've 10x leveraged $10,000, and that was my entire account in one trade. And then, kid you not, I didn't have take profit. I didn't have a stop loss. I didn't know what I was doing. Woke up, I had $20,000 in my account, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, right? Just don't do that, because I ended up losing pretty much all that money over the next 2-3 months, because that was back in 2021, when right at the peak of the market. Okay, just take it seriously and don't lose your money. But we're all gonna have to learn. You're gonna lose money, you're gonna make money, and yeah, that's just the name of the game. Yeah, that's it for this one. But as promised in the beginning of the video, how I made the $6,000 in the past couple of months was just through really simple referral rewards from big platforms like Chime, SoFi, and several other big banking and investing platforms that just pay you to invite your friends and family. So for instance, SoFi has like a $75 referral reward, so I can invite my entire family to sign up, and then if I have 5 people in my family, 5 times 75 is like what, $400, something like that, right? And then same thing with Chime, you can get up to like $1,000 just from referring your friends to the platform. And so there's several other apps that I've used, but I explained that in my school group that I have linked down below, of exactly how you can make that $6,000, and then just reinvest that back into crypto and fund your Blofin account or whatever it might be. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. I can answer any questions, and yeah, join that school group, learn more about crypto, and make some money. So I'll see you guys in the next one.